expect Casey to try to put a little something extra on the slider here.
Sun comes out from behind a cloud, and suddenly we have sunshine covering the infield. A 1-2 pitch to the plate. Swing and a miss! He struck him out! He struck him out! He struck him out! Aggies are going to the College World Series.
And howdy, welcome back to the RedAss podcast. This is going to be your co-host, Rob White, fighting Texas Aggie class of 2014.
And this is Roy May, fighting Texas Aggie class of 2015, coming to you remotely. And we are socially distanced today.
Yeah, unfortunately, there was a bit of an exposure leak, not on my half, but
yeah, kids are dirty. Schools are just bacteria, farms, anyways. But yeah, it's whatever.
It is what it is.
But I'll take the proper precautions, and even though I'm negative, and she's negative, but she still can't go back to school. It's 10 days regardless. So whatever, man.
I'm hearing you coughing over there. I'm glad you're over there and not here.
Oh, shut up. Went down the wrong pipe.
Sure. That's what we all say.
Well, we live in a world right now where you're scared to cough in public, right?
Oh, you're not wrong. I mean, I went to the dentist earlier today, and I knew that if I went in and had even a little bit of a cough, they were going to be like, you need to go home. I'm like, no, I need to get my teeth worked on. Damn it. Let's get this done.
Well, I was laughing. About the other day. It's like Friday or Saturday. We were in the CP working, trying to get everything together to complete all the competition stuff for the reserve, for my reserve training. And I coughed, I had my mask on, I coughed. I put my hand up over my face. I was like, wait, are you still supposed to cover your mouth now? If your mouth is covered when you cough, what do I do here?
That's the real question.
It's like a reaction, because you grow up learning to cover your mouth when you cough.
Oh yeah.
But enough talking about weird COVID stuff. But apologize for missing last week. I ended up I had a 5-day Army Reserves duty that ended up taking me about 7 days. I had 2 days of prep and just got way too busy with it. Unfortunately, couldn't go through some of the basketball stuff with the women. Unfortunate to see them finally lose. But
yeah,
what a season! What a season!
I mean, it was a great season. It just felt like they did kind of lose a little bit of steam down the stretch, and you just felt that every game, we were just kind of skirting by, barely making it work during the tournament, and it wasn't the same energy that we had seen down the stretch. Now, granted, you had an incredible walk-off, buzzer beater, which is always a ton of fun. But at the end of the day, it just wasn't enough to really make a significant impact for the tournament.
Well, I mean, you're living on the edge, your
Right.
first 2 rounds. And I get it. Like, these are all tournament teams. And sometimes it's a matchup deal. I mean, the way Troy plays basketball is just a whole different approach.
Right.
It's almost like the old days of Arkansas, the 60 minutes or 40 minutes of hell they used to do, where they press for the entire game. And so, and you come back after the Troy game, you come back and win that, and then the next game you come back and win, and you're seeing the team win in games that honestly they're not playing real well. And these 2 amazing late comebacks, you're starting to think, all right, maybe this is one of those teams a destiny thing. But then they ran into a buzzsaw. Once you get to that point of the tournament, you're facing some big dog teams, and Arizona I thought Arizona basically dominated the game.
Oh yeah, I mean, every aspect of the game. I mean, unfortunately, I didn't get really much of a chance to watch it. I was busy watching and getting ready for the UFC fight because that was going on that night. Heavyweight title bout, which was wild.
Oh, I didn't get to watch that. I didn't get to watch the whole game because the cell service was terrible where we were. So I caught,
Right.
I sent all the soldiers out to land now. So then I just, they're out in the woods breaking brush and looking for points. I'm just sitting there, but just waiting for them to come back. But hopefully come back. And so I watched what my phone would allow me to watch. I watched a decent amount. I watched over half of the game, but again, what's done is done. I've just a great season for the girls, and
Oh, for sure, and we respect them, and of course, Coach Blair and all that they do over there. I mean, just great program all around, classy program, and they did what they were supposed to do. Just wasn't quite enough to get us over the hump this year to get a 10-year repeat, but It
I'll
is
be
what it is.
Yeah, I'll be interested. I'll be following along this offseason, see how that works, because I know he was starting 3 transfers, so I'll be interested to see if Gary really dips back into that transfer market. I think he showed that he's capable of doing it. You have the kids that he recruited and have been in the system, and then you bring in 3 kids from 3 different schools, and you still see success. So
Right.
It'll be interesting to see that moving forward. But
Yep. But
so that's that, and obviously we
yeah,
don't need to talk about the men's tournament. So
not much was going on there, except for
Yeah.
2 teams from the Texas have made the Final Four. Neither one of them are either one of the flagship institutions. So
Yeah,
take that for what
well,
it's worth.
yeah, right. Well, Baylor basketball, what a dirty program.
Well, between
I
Baylor and U of H, I mean,
I think
between the
it's
2 of those, Cougar High all day.
I think it's so cool to see Cougar High back, man. It's like Phi Slamma Jamma days. So
I mean, what was it, 84 the last time they made it?
Yeah, 80s, like with Drexler and
Mhm.
yeah. So I think it's fun. I'll probably hop on the U of H bandwagon just for if I watch the games. I found that even the game last night was Baylor was last night, right?
I think so.
Yeah, I just had it on like in the
Arkansas.
back. Yeah, I turned it on. I was like, okay, right on basketball, and then I just found myself doing everything but watching it.
So I had to chuckle whenever I went into the thing. Me and my buddy Matt, when we had a conversation about it, said, "Good news, Baylor won. Bad news, Baylor won," because it was Arkansas. I mean, like, it was good news that Arkansas lost, but Baylor had to win. So it's like,
Yeah.
I don't care for either one of those programs, man.
I don't like Arkansas just because of the rivalry for me.
Sure.
It's going back to Southwest Conference days.
Right.
I don't like Baylor for a lot of reasons that have nothing to do with the Southwest Conference.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, Baylor
that program, yeah, that program is dirty. Scott Drew is dirty. What they allowed to happen with Art Briles, all while painting them with the brush of being a Baptist institution. And as a Southern Baptist myself, it makes me want to barf.
Yes,
So,
it wasn't.
I get it that it's everywhere, but they play such the high and mighty righteous game when they're no different. Athletics
Right.
drives the bus.
Oh, and everybody knows it.
So
So-
they just refuse to say it out loud.
Oh, for sure. So we had a chance to really kind of start conference play in the sticks if we're going to jump in on those. And
Yeah. Let's get into baseball and softball because we're deep in it now.
Oh yeah. We're into the meat of things now. So if you want to get things started, kind of with softball, 2 weekends, and frankly, I would say things are looking very much up considering where we were going to start the year.
I'll tell you what, of the 2 programs right now, the upward trajectory is greater for softball right now than it is for baseball.
I agree.
Because so there was no midweek game, and so we'll go back. So I previewed the LSU series, and then unfortunately with Army and everything just got busy. So there was no midweek game, but they went to LSU and they were able to nick one, and we said that would be big, right? And they were even able to nick the first one. So then you're pretty excited. Maybe we can pull one off here or there. LSU is a good program. LSU is a really good softball team,
and it was on the road.
And on the road, none of them were blowouts though. A&M didn't get the other 2 games. They didn't get blown out of the water, and so it was good softball against a quality opponent. And so you win 2-1, and then you go 1-6, 1-4 in your 2 losses. Those are not bad losses on the road to at the time what was it? They're like number 12, I think.
Right. Yeah. A top level program.
Right. So you go 1-2 in a series though. So you lose the series, and you never know. It's just athletes, are they, even though they won a game, are they kind of down in the dumps about it? You don't have that midweek bounce back opportunity. They come back, they get to come home, and they get South Carolina. And South Carolina is ranked 23 when they come to Aggieland. And we swept them off the diamond.
Which is awesome.
And that was one of those where what you saw at LSU going 1-2 against a top 15 team, you go, okay, maybe we can win this South Carolina series. And they opened up Friday night with a 6-3 win, and it was a pretty convincing 6-3 win. I mean, they looked good, got themselves out a couple jams, and then you get to the Saturday game, and they blow their doors off.
Right.
They beat them 10-2, and then you come back Sunday and you get that all important sweep. And so I'm really impressed with what's going on with the softball team right now. I really am. They still seem like they're struggling to find a second arm that's consistent. Peyton's good, but she's had some location issues. Grace Uribe is a freshman, so you just part of that's just being there and having more experience and throwing more in those situations. Then obviously you have Mackenzie, Herzog, who's your ace, going away. So what they've got to find another arm
Sure.
And the bats just got to keep doing what they're doing. It's timely hitting. You're starting to see power around the lineup as opposed to just Haley Lee. So you've got the makings there on the offense. If there's some fielding stuff, but again, it's a young team, so you're going to see fielding errors when you have freshmen and sophomores, especially on the dirt. But they're picking themselves up. They're having fun, man. You watch this team; they're really having a blast play. And even LSU, the Saturday or no, it was the Monday game. That's right, because the series was it started on Saturday. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I mean, even in a loss, they're not hanging their heads. The body language is good. They're there to compete. The Monday game, it kind of just squeaked away from them. It really did. So I thought they were really on the cusp of winning that series. And then again, South Carolina comes to town and they sweep them like it's nothing. So what we're seeing is better hitting. I think a little more controlled hitting approaches at the plate. But at the same time, some of the girls are really letting loose. Like I think Joe's like, let it fly, kiddo. And given him that vote of confidence, I think you're seeing it pay off, in the hitting. And so, I'm looking forward to, they got the midweeks with Corpus Christi. We got 2 midweeks of Corpus Christi. Right. Then the test comes.
Right.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, you go to Alabama.
Yeah, and of course, as you know, it's what it's going to be. It's going to be a party. It's going to be wild.
Just the powerhouse. So, man, if you can nick one of those games, honestly, if you could just nick one, or even if you lose all 3, if you keep them close, stay away from getting run ruled. So Alabama's just so good, and I get sick of saying that more than just in the fall. So,
right.
But Alabama is so good. But again, you got those midweek games, get a couple more, under your belt. Maybe you get a little development as somebody pops up, in the circle, so you have a little confidence in another arm, and keep the momentum going. That's the one thing I like about the midweek games coming off a sweep or even a series win. You can maintain that momentum as you head into your next, conference series, your next weekend series, and the next weekend's huge. I mean, it's huge. So if you can go to Alabama and win one, two of the games are going to be televised Thursday and Saturday. It'll be on actually on the SEC network. So.
I mean, like you have a certain level of swagger whenever you go in and you sweep somebody, especially a ranked team. So, I mean, you're talking about a team that everybody preseason looked at A&M softball and said, they just don't have what we're looking for.
Yeah.
But you definitely have something that you're looking for in some form if you're sweeping a ranked opponent. So that's good news.
Yeah, A&M wasn't on anybody's radar, and and you look at it, and they were young. That was a big thing, is they're young, so it's unproven. It doesn't matter how you recruit; it's how you can play. And there is, that freshman year of just learning. And so you didn't have a ton of confidence, knowing kind of, especially what's in the rest of the conference. That's the other catch. It's not just could they be a good team, but goodness, look at the competition they're going up against. And it's fun to see them really gelling and playing as a team. So it's, I think it'll be interesting to see where this season goes. And you don't hang everything on the Alabama weekend either. So if you can nick one at Alabama, I think you feel pretty good about it.
I think they feel great. So I mean, so safe to say going forward, softball's got a lot of potential. I mean, not expecting a lot out of the Alabama series, but at the same time, they take one, or hell, if they take 2, that's going to ring a lot of bells.
If they win the series at Alabama, we are bringing Gray back on.
Oh, for sure. And we're going to because we need to get a reaction.
Yes. But yeah, so I think across the board, you really like what you're seeing with the momentum. You really hope they can pull off these midweek games. You'd love to see 2 run rules.
That'd be great.
Sweep South Carolina, run rule Tuesday, Wednesday, or is it Tuesday, Wednesday, or run rule them, and then go to Alabama with just a full head of steam, train barreling down the tracks.
Right.
So gig them. Yeah, get out to Davis. This next weekend to flip on the SEC network Thursday and Saturday are going to be on the SEC network. So flip it on and watch those girls.
It's going to be a lot of fun to watch. Well, we did kind of get everything kicked off with baseball at this point as well. So baseball is getting rock and rolling in the SEC play, and mixed results. This is probably the best way we can put it. To kind of go over everything, we can get started with opening weekend. You go on the road to Florida, and what was really two very winnable games slip away from you, and unfortunately, you find yourself in a sweep. To kick off conference play against a Florida team, which now, as time has gone on, they're still not looking 100%.
It's weird.
It's weird.
I don't think they're what anybody expected to see, but I also think that it's still Florida, and that switch may come on, and they may turn to the Florida we expect them to be.
Right. So, Florida ends up taking care of business against us, but then they get swept by South Carolina. So
yeah,
I don't know what's going on with them. It's a weird program. However, A&M has to turn around and try to have a good week the next week. Unfortunately, you drop the game to Rice, which is a huge RPI dump by losing that game because they're not a good program right now.
They haven't been for a while.
No. So, I mean, people always love to talk about, oh, well, Rice did whatever. I'm like, that was years ago, guys. This is not the same Rice program.
I'm trying to remember the last time Rice was really good. I mean, it's been like 5 or 6 years even. I mean, honestly.
14 is the last time they hosted, and that's when us and Texas were both in that region.
Oh yeah, that's right, the Rice region,
and set attendance records they're never going to break.
Yeah, right. What is it, Reckling Park? Yeah.
Oh, dude, I love Reckling Park. Great ball.
Dude, Rice is a story program, but being story doesn't mean you're any good this year. And I'll tell you what, coming off that sweep, and I can't remember if that game was on TV or if it was on my app, but I watched the game.
Right.
And watching the Rice players celebrate at the end of the game, I was glad that our players stayed in the dugout to watch that. Like, you need to watch what you just did.
Well, yeah, I mean, it was completely inexcusable, especially considering their starter, like ERA was over 9.
Yeah.
I mean, that is completely inexcusable that you only get 2 hits on the guy.
And then they brought in the outfielder to close.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
It was bad.
So,
there was nothing good to say about that midweek.
No, there was nothing good to say about those 4 games. It was just rough.
Yeah.
I mean, Lefty was hitting okay, but then all of a sudden we come into the weekend and people started making some adjustments. We saw Hunter Coleman finally get back in the lineup where he belongs. And guess what?
Good to see him back in it.
It was good to see him in, and there is something about him and Ty Coleman being in that infield. The dynamic changes. So all of a sudden we have solid infield play. We made a lot of good defensive plays. We had good pitching for the most part over the first couple of games. And then we just found our way into winning the series. Now, granted, one of them required a walk-off, and we blew a lead in game 3 that easily should have secured a sweep. But overall, I would say a positive weekend against Georgia.
Well, the thing I'll say for having Hunter Coleman is in the limited opportunities that he had thus far, he had proven that he had a spot on that lineup. So it was really surprising that he wasn't getting more opportunities to play.
I'm wondering how much of that had to do with injury or something else, because it can't, you would hope, considering how old he is and how long he's been with this program, that would not be an issue.
Well, yeah. So it was, I don't know. It was surprising that he wasn't getting more opportunities, but another one that's getting some opportunities it was nice to see is Bryce Blom.
Oh, sure. I mean, it's good to see him running.
What's the thing we say though? 5th-year seniors are the backbone of your lineup. You're probably not a very good club.
Yeah,
but what's funny is, you love having the experience in the clubhouse, but at A&M you don't expect guys to stick around that long. You expect to end up in the draft.
Right.
But what happened is but what happened is you plugged him in and this team kind of came alive. So you know what? I don't care what the saying is. I don't care if we got 6th-year seniors. If they're carrying the club, then the young boys can sit down and watch.
Well, they can sit down and watch, learn. And I mean, you do need that senior leadership. I mean, you look at the Frizzels and the Colemans and the Bloms and the guys that have been consistent within this program. You want that in the lineup, helping lead, especially early on in the season. Now, what leads to your long-term success, especially when you're getting towards the end, is that you stepping up in key situations. So we're going to get down to the stretch here where we're going to have the Arkansas series. We're going to have LSU, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, all these series that are going to be critical for any kind of hope for postseason play. And you got to step up those weekends, and it's going to be up to the young guys to do it.
You're going to have those young guys contribute in key situations. And that's really what it comes down to. Honestly, you want, more veteran leadership, and, with this year and COVID and all the rules and the eligibility stuff, fifth year, I don't care. So having that experience is great, but those young guys are going to have to figure it out. So hopefully when they're sitting, they're not hanging their head, but they're watching and they're learning. So that's the one factor that you just don't know. Are they actually taking this time to better themselves and watch those senior at bats?
And I do prefer seeing Mikey Honer in that lineup behind the plate. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like, Taylor Smith. I think he's a good player. I think he's got some potential. Bats really not. I mean, I'm not really feeling it so much right now, but he's been decent behind the plate. It's just, that senior leadership was what was needed this past weekend, and they stepped up. Now, this week, we do find ourselves in a couple of key games. You have a top 10 Texas coming in to Kyle Field. I mean, coming into Olson today. Yeah.
Can we play him in Kyle?
Yeah, can we play him in Kyle? No, but we're playing them at Olson today as of this recording. So we don't have a result on that. We won't. But, all metrics say Texas should probably win this game.
Pretty comfortably.
Pretty comfortably. So
I don't know anything about their midweek starters. I don't think you do. I haven't watched a lot of Texas baseball. I don't know if you have.
I'll say, well, I've kept up enough to say that their midweek has looked pretty good.
Yeah, and they've got like a established midweek guy. They don't kind of play the roundabout.
So we have Nathan Detmer tonight, who's been our consistent Tuesday guy, and I think he's gonna do just fine. I mean, he pitched well against Rice. He really did. It's just
we just couldn't hit.
We couldn't hit. So here's the thing: if you hold a team to 2 runs, you should be able to score enough to beat that.
Texas A&M should be able to. If you hold a team not named Vanderbilt to 2 runs. You should be able to, yeah.
Well, and speaking of Vanderbilt, sorry, quick aside. My God, between Kumar Rocker and Leader, Jesus. They're ridiculous.
And what's funny is I wasn't watching it, but I was getting ESPN alerts about he had a no-hitter going to the 7th and they pulled him. I bet you he wasn't even mad. He's like, yeah, I already got a no-hitter, whatever. Hey, let's rest my arm. It's just unbelievable 1-2 punch at Vanderbilt. And I know it's college baseball, so you got to put runs on the board. But, man, they can go a long way on those 2 arms.
They can. And like I said, with those 2 in the lineup, it's hard to say anybody's going to beat them in a series because, I mean, you have to face both of them.
I mean, if all you got to do is score 2 runs to win every game that they're pitching, you win every series.
It's ridiculous.
Because oh, by the way, Vanderbilt's got some pretty good bats too.
Oh yeah, no, hey, I mean it's a great combo.
Going back real quick to that experience thing, I want to touch on it. Behind the plate, and I baseball was the first sport I played, and I played catcher, and I loved playing catcher. You really are, you're in charge of it, and I think that there isn't a more important position on the diamond to have senior leadership than behind the plate.
100%.
And while the back guy he's going to be good and catchers develop, and again you are talking about a big leap from being a high school catcher to a college catcher. It's a big difference. And you got to have time to develop, but he's got to have those games. We've got to play him. He's got to get in and get the experience. But man, and especially going into something like tonight, like Honer better be behind the plate tonight.
Oh, 100%. He's going to be there. You got to think, just really, I mean, most of the senior leadership will be on the field for that game. As they should, because they know how to beat Texas.
They know how to beat Texas.
They know how to do it. They've done it. So, it's not an ideal situation as far as, what we're coming into on this game. But here's the deal. Even as an underdog, I mean, one of the big things is midweek games and rivalry games by definition, they are weird and weird things happen.
When emotions get flowing, baseball can be a hard game to play.
So, and it's going to be weird because Olson's not in its normal setup. Now we did get confirmation. After pestering him a little bit, but Ross finally opened up and said, not only will it be students, but it's going to be GA back in 202 and 203 next year, as it should be. They
should do a trial run tonight. Just saying.
That's what I said. And they said, we don't want to deal with the headache of having to move the season ticket holders. I understand. I don't care. Get them out of my seat.
Well,
it's funny, but yeah, it's all right.
well, I remember, I think it was like the Kentucky game, basketball game when I was a yell leader, and it was getting close, and there was the one like we almost won at Reed,
Mhm.
and one of a former student and a buddy of mine actually was running around at the end. He was telling us, he was like, "Hey, tell the students to rush the court. We'll pay the fine. We already have it covered." Like they had talked amongst themselves, like they were happy to pay the fine. So
Nice.
like, so can we just pack Olson and pay the fine tonight? Can we just do that?
Yeah, man. I'll tell you what. I mean, the only problem is they're really strict about you not rushing the field at baseball because
No, no,
they,
no. No,
they
don't,
won't
yeah,
stop you
no.
from coming back.
No, I just want to pack Olson. Like
I mean, that'd be
let's
nice.
lift the percentage ban. I'll go up to the health department and put a broom through the door so they can't get out.
I
And come
would
up and shut
prefer
us
that.
down.
Yes. I mean,
But
here's the
yeah,
deal. I mean, if ever there was a time, I mean, they say they're like the SEC's meeting about this tomorrow, which is conveniently a day after we play, which is, I mean, just sucks because I mean, I think at this point, um, yeah, I mean, it's not ideal. Um, I'm not a big fan of it, of course, but it'll be fine. Yeah, we'll make it work. I mean, I got a ticket in the stands tonight. Originally, I was going to go just stand in the
good,
alley, but a friend of mine reached out and said, "Hey, you need to be in the stands for this one."
nice.
And so
Well,
I'm giving you a ticket. I'm like, well, I
well,
appreciate that.
I hope they pack the alley too.
And it will. And I guarantee you there's probably gonna be a lot of beefing out there because it's not policed.
Yep.
I do think what's gonna happen with the alley is you're gonna see a bit of a dynamic shift as how they treat it going
Mhm.
forward based on how things go today. Because if there's a lot of mixing out there and it's not,
They're
security there, there's gonna be problems and they'll take care of that.
they're gonna have to find a way to, even if it's just like open, like the beer gardens were, where it's kind of open but it's still controlled. They may
Right.
have to look into some sort of control going on out there, or at least just have security out there.
Oh yeah, one well,
I mean,
absolutely.
all this tuition and all these fees and all the fees that come with tickets and season tickets, all this stuff that includes security. So put
Mhm.
security out there. Like lean forward in this foxhole. Don't be reactive. Be proactive. Hopefully, but we'll find out tonight. That's for sure.
Oh, we definitely will. So I mean, my expectations for the game. Do I think Texas wins? Probably. Will I be absolutely 100% surprised and thrilled when we win? Yes.
I've got A&M winning off a Bryce Blom walk off.
That would be incredible. Between him and Ty Coleman has been hot, hot, hot.
He has.
lately.
He's smoldering right now. So yeah, and again, it's one of those where if that lineup card comes out and Ty and Will and Blom aren't and Honer aren't in the lineup, I mean,
What's the point?
you can wiggle a little bit with Blom, I guess, but he's been playing well too.
They're all playing well.
He's getting the barrel on the ball. We know Blom runs well, and he's an above average fielder. And this is one of those games where having the experience on the diamond, not just baseball experience, but man, the experience of playing in the rivalry is massive. You're
Sure.
going to be calmer at the plate. You're going to be calmer in the field. The pitchers are going to be a little more relaxed, and that's always the big thing I think with rivalry like this. Where we're not in the same conference, but at least baseball could figure out to play it. The emotions when you're on the mound are it's the most dangerous thing to a pitcher is to get too emotionally involved in it. You're overthrowing, you're darting pitches in the dirt, you're burying them in the dirt. And if you get into a bullpen, you never know. And if you get into a bullpen early, I mean, there are very few teams in the country who have an extensive bullpen that can really, give you 5 innings, 6 innings of shutdown, because we're capable of playing good baseball. So we just don't know what's going to show up tonight at the Diamond. But man, I'd love to see one of those more senior guys have a walk off. Yeah, Mikey Honer. Let's do Major League. Mikey Honer calls his shot and then lays down a bunt and beats out the throw to first.
Oh, why not? Whatever works for us. I mean, so Texas, big game.
But now let's say this, man, this isn't your season.
Sure.
It's not even a conference game. You'd love it. You love the bragging rights, but win or lose, you go to Missouri this weekend.
Right. Which is at this stage, much like this past weekend, in this podcaster's humble opinion, yes, it's a win series. Ideally, it's a sweep of the series because let's face it, Missouri is not a good program.
They are not. So, and we're getting to the part of the season where we may have to start sounding some alarms. If they go to Missouri and they don't win that series against a poor baseball team, to be honest,
They are.
If you don't win that series, then we've really got to talk about if we can make it to the postseason. Because if you can't beat Missouri, it's not getting any easier than Missouri. Missouri's got to be the worst team in the league, right?
They're up there. One thing I will
Or
say,
down there.
yeah, you get it. But we actually went into this past weekend ahead of Georgia. They did their projections for the field of 64, and we weren't in the last four in. We weren't in the last four out. We were in the next four out.
We're out.
So
Wow.
we're in the 8 that are just not anywhere near the top of the point. So you're talking about skating on very thin ice for postseason right now, and the road does not get easier.
Well, and right now you can point directly to one game, and you said it earlier, that freaking Rice game, man, it just blows your RPI to shit.
It did, and the thing is, it was at home.
You're beating Missouri isn't going to do much for you, but losing to Missouri will kill you.
Yes.
So they need to, got Missouri, then they got the Sam Houston. That's at Sam Houston, and again,
and that will be a little bit less of a hamper because Sam's been a good program, but
us in midweek games this year, I just don't know,
which is unusual for Rob Childers coach teams.
Yes,
they normally do very well for midweeks, so that's why it's so concerning.
It's been a struggle.
Yeah,
but it has been nice to see, like you said, Detmer looks like he's really emerged, for the midweek. And then, so in regards to what happens tonight, because again, West Texas 9th, they're top 10.
I've seen them all the way up to 5 in some polls.
Okay, so they're easily top 10.
Yeah.
So no matter what happens tonight, you've got to win Missouri. You really need to sweep Missouri, but you've got to win the series. You have to win the series. You've got to beat Sam, and then you get Alabama here. Which
Alabama's been a decent program so far this year. So
yeah, they're good. So that's really if let's just say we lose tonight, but you go win 2 of the 3 at Missouri and you beat Sam. That Alabama series then becomes your whole season isn't hinging on it, but man, we're starting to get to that point.
All right. And the things, like I said, winnable series. You get Georgia, you get Missouri, you get Alabama, all winnable series. Now, our next very winnable series is not late until we play Auburn at this point. Every other one of those series, we are going to be not favored in. So we really have a lot of work to do.
What about Tennessee?
Oh, Tennessee's ranked. They just swept LSU, dude.
Oh,
yeah. Tennessee's
because
on fire right now.
Yeah, after Bama, you got Arkansas, and then Tennessee, and then Mississippi State.
Yeah, and that's gonna be probably the toughest stretch we have all year.
And Arkansas and Mississippi State are both on the road. Womp womp.
Like I said, it's about as tough of a stretch as we could ask for.
Yeah, there's no getting swept the rest of the year.
No, we can't. We can't afford to.
You can't get swept. You can't lose the series at Missouri. No. Now, if you sweep the series at Missouri, even though Missouri's bad, those are conference wins.
Right. To make the tournament, like I think the general rule of thumb is you need to win 15 of your games in conference play, and you get 30 of them. So you need to run about half. Yeah.
So you've got to
2.
Yeah, you've got to nick a game with Arkansas. You've got to nick a game with Mississippi State. You got
to sweep Missouri.
You got to sweep Missouri.
You got to take 2, at bare minimum 2 or 3 against Alabama. And
no more midweek losses.
You need to sweep Auburn. That needs to happen.
Yeah,
so there's a lot of work to do.
You got 3 midweek games after tonight.
Mm-hmm.
You can't lose them.
No.
There's no more. But if you can go through and you win the other 3 midweek games, if you are able to win tonight against Texas, you turn that Rice loss on its ear.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's definitely a negated situation to an extent. Now, bad RPI losses are going to sit around. Those aren't going away. But are going to definitely help your case by beating in Texas.
Really good RPI wins can push a good narrative.
Which is what this is.
Yeah, you'd rather, you want to win later. You want to lose earlier and win later. So, if you'd beat Texas and then you come back and lose to Rice,
different story.
But you can get that taste out of your mouth of that Rice game.
Right. We have more to gain than we have to lose.
We have nothing to lose tonight.
No.
Nothing. we lost to Rice, so we have nothing to lose tonight. And I hope, and honestly, we've seen this all the years since we started playing Texas again. Rob treats this like
it's an important game.
It isn't just a Tuesday game. He's got people ready. He'll make changes. He wants to win this game.
Yeah.
And he understands. I mean, there's recruiting implications for him too. He understands that.
Oh yeah. So we're excited about it. I mean, it's gonna be a fun day, win or lose.
Yeah, we're playing the Sips.
I'm looking forward to being out there. It's gonna be a great time. So I'm off, baby.
Yes, please. I will be watching the game. I won't be there. I'll be watching it.
Mm-hmm.
And there will be a good number of cold silver bullets put down.
All right. So I wanted to jump in on some questions here that we did have, and then we'll move on from there.
And you said they were from a while back. So, again, I apologize. The Army training just kind of screwed everything up.
So it's from my buddy Daniel Gilbert, Daniel G_910. He did ask us a handful of questions. So this will cover what we got. So
right on.
Okay. So this one I'm going to direct to you first, and I'll follow up. Favorite and least favorite memory of A&M while you were a student?
I'm guessing he's talking about sports.
I mean, it could be sports, but I mean, I think just in general, like, I think it'd be more fun to do it that way. Because I mean, because you and I were there about the same time, we can relate to the same things.
Yeah. I mean, I got some really good grades on tests, and to be honest, there's no greater feel on the planet than destroying a test in a difficult class. Mm-hmm. However, my favorite memory still got to be the bowl game, the Duke bowl game, the Chick-fil-A, where Tony Hurd jumped in my arms. I mean, that's an all-timer. That's not just at A&M. That's an all-time dream. You have to realize it's like my life flashed before my eyes. It's something I dreamed of since I was probably like 2 or 3. Mm-hmm. So not just that comeback and it being ridiculous in and of itself, but just the happenstance of me being in that end zone because Roy's tiny little bladder couldn't hold it anymore. So I had to run to go potty, and I came out, and Tony Hurd goes pick 6 and jumps in my arms. That
was top notch.
Yeah, the absolute top notch. And worst moment? He asked for worst moment too, huh?
Mm-hmm. Worst moment.
I mean, the first half of that game.
That was bad.
Worst moment was probably, and yeah, I remember like a lot of this is just through the lens of being a yell leader.
Sure.
Probably the LSU loss at LSU when it was cold and raining. We wore those god awful gray uniforms. That entire experience was terrible. Yeah. They were yelling at my wife, and my wife brought her friend, and they were just downright crude and disgusting. And so that was probably worst experience. Oh, tied for the best thing was actually election night for when I was running for junior yell.
Nice.
That was when our names got called. It was it was
surreal.
Crazy, man. It was so crazy. To come back and try and be a yell leader as an old fart and for the student body to really embrace me was that's probably my best moment at A&M. Nice. was getting elected and realizing kind of a childhood dream. Really, it really was.
That's awesome. Well, I could say probably my favorite moment was when I was a freshman. We actually had the unique opportunity to sing for H.W. Bush on campus. One thing that was really cool about getting to do that was it was at the library for a big event. And we went out and we sang God Bless the USA with Lee Greenwood. He was there.
What?
Yeah. So he was kind of singing lead on it while the rest of us were doing the backing vocals. It was a pretty unique experience, but had a chance to shake his hand and he talked with each of us. It was, just down to earth, and
that is cool, man. That is really cool. I'd forgotten you were in the Singing Cadets.
Yeah, so that was easily I would say probably the absolute coolest moment for me.
That is cool.
I was like, hey, former president of the United States, who gets to meet them very often? Not very often. Probably my least favorite, honestly, was Game 3 of the regional against Texas at Rice. Because Game 2 we came back and won it. And then they blew the doors off in Game 3, and it was just like, great, here we go again, losing to Texas.
Here we go again.
But
well,
and a very close second to that was obviously 2011, man. That last kick,
dude, that was so gutting. I was front row, for the SIP game. You're in your midnights. You got the coat, your full blown Eisenhowers. My best friend, I brought to the game. He's not real good with crowds, so I was like, I'll get front row tickets, man. That way you won't have to worry about anything. So we were up against the wall, the concrete barrier, and just what a kick in the junk. I get that, yeah, but that led us to join the SEC and blah blah blah. Doesn't change that moment at all.
That moment. Yeah, there's no doubt in my mind that moment was just an absolute slobber knock. And the thing was, to make it worse, I started walking out of the stadium back up the steps, and there was a dude about 4 rows back that was in a Texas shirt looking down at every single one of us, holding his horns up just like a freaking hawk. It was very close, but I held off of punching him in the junk when I walked by. I was like, nope, I'm not going there.
And a very close second to that experience was seeing on the Jumbotron the fact that it wasn't a penalty.
Right. I was hoping for something.
Was it targeting or unnecessary roughness? I think is what they call them.
Oh man, that penalty and early in the drive. Oh.
And seeing that and knowing that it was like, there are points when you're an Aggie, you're like, dude, this hissing is dumb. We need to be booing.
That was a moment. That was the first time I ever heard booing at Kyle actively, and that was powerful.
Loud. It was loud.
It was powerful.
And then the LSU offsides.
That was a good one too.
I was right behind the official who didn't call it. They've got that dotted line around the field, and I had my toe right up against it. And I was leaned over as best I could, just blowing at him. Yeah. And
Well, once you know me, I'm a proponent of booing, especially when it comes to bad officiating. Because that gets them on track. Yeah.
You can boo officials.
Right. Because, that'll set them right. Because if they do that, they'll learn.
You are not authorized, as far as I'm concerned as an Aggie, to boo college players.
And I don't do that.
And unless, like, the dude kicks somebody clear as day while he's on the ground. Like, you can boo unsportsmanlike conduct.
Oh, sure.
If you take your helmet off and go after one of our players, like, it's okay to boo you.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. Nice. So best and worst moments.
For sure. Okay. Next question for you. Who would win? I'm going to assume neutral site. So Kyle Field, between the 2012 A&M football team and the 2020 A&M football team, who wins and why?
Oh gosh. Both offensive lines were phenomenal.
Yep.
Honestly, I think 2020 or I think 2012 loses, and for the same reason that they lost that year and didn't fulfill really their potential. Didn't have a defense. It's just flat out. Our offense from last year could score on that defense all day.
So I will say I agree. I think whenever we go 2020 versus 2012, what I will say about the 20 team winning that game is, once again, I think the defense would be able to make key stops. And also, here's the other thing. I have 2 words for you. Taylor Bertolette. We win that game because he missed. 2020 wins that game because he misses a last chance field goal.
Well, another thing is, not only did 2012 not have the defense, but 2020 did. Mm-hmm. And so even for a guy just ridiculously electric as Johnny Manziel was,
and
you have better,
but
but you have better linebackers and you have a better nickel. And so the ability to at least semi-contain Johnny exists. The 2012 defense against Kellen, I don't think they could stop him. Not with Weidermeyer. Nope.
No. And not with the tight end play. What I think about with that 2012 team versus the 2020 team, you look at, once again, the line play was just about perfect for our offense, so that wasn't going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
You look at the games that we lost that year in 12, and one of the games we lost was LSU, and it was a defensive effort that put Johnny on his butt, and that's basically what we would have been.
Yeah. No, we absolutely have the defense to play with that offense. And then on top of that, I got 2 words for you. They're gonna make you barf a little. Wheel route.
Oh yeah.
So
wheel route.
so really all we would have to do all game is either send Weidermeyer or Devon on a wheel route. Just take your pick your poison. You know, Spiller. You know, because in the backfield, the backfield in 2020 is better than the 2012 backfield, and the 2012 backfield was good.
Oh, it was great.
But
I mean,
but our backfield right now is just disgusting.
I mean,
They're so good.
I mean,
God.
A-Chain's ridiculous.
Spiller.
Spiller's great. I mean, good Lord.
I think Spiller, depending on how we run the offense, obviously, but I think Spiller has the opportunity to be the leading rusher in the SEC next year. Absolutely. Again,
Well,
he's
think
just.
so.
I think he'll crack, you know, top 5 in the nation next year, assuming a little bit of workhorse load though. But we have options, so maybe he does, maybe he doesn't.
Well, it reminds me of like the Chubb situation, the Gurley situation, all that stuff. Whenever Georgia just had those incredible running backs just constantly, that's where I feel like we're at, and it feels like every new guy that comes in is just adding fuel to the fire.
It seems like in the backfield, who we recruit is better than, like, recruiting wise. He was ranked higher than the guy before and ranked higher than the guy before. So it's
playing up to their potential.
Yeah, it is an embarrassment of riches in the backfield right now.
It's a beautiful thing. All right, so next question. So we can both agree 2020 wins that game.
Yes, and honestly, I'm not sure that it's close, mostly because I think there's a lot of points on the board, but the 2012 defense, just there'd be 2 or 3 stops that they couldn't make that the 2020 defense could. So I still think you're looking at like a 2-score game.
Right. I agree, man. So let me get the other one here. If you could interview any Texas A&M athlete at any point, I'm assuming alive, dead, whatever, if you could, who would it be and why?
Oh man, that's a lot of athletes.
Yeah.
I think interviewing Randy Matson at the Olympics would have been pretty cool. Gosh, Bucky was hilarious. Bucky is hilarious, by the way. I love.
Oh,
Bucky.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm kind of. It's tough for me because, like, I don't want to sound like a jerk, but I've gotten to talk to so many people that growing up I wanted to talk to, and then just, with all the functions, being a yell leader, you get to meet so many people, and it just blows your mind. Like, I know R.C. Slocum well. That's insane to me. I know Jackie Sherrill. Jackie's always. I tell you what, you ever get a chance to hang out and talk to Jackie Sherrill, it's a blast.
All right.
But athlete wise, gosh, I don't know, man. I've talked to most of those guys.
I mean, I think about guys I wouldn't mind talking to. I mean, I think on a one-on-one, I think Von Miller would be a hell of a conversation, a hell of a cut up,
yeah,
for sure. If we're going off of baseball, which is obviously my baby, I would love to sit down and just kind of experience through the eyes of John Byington what happened in '89.
Oh yeah, Big Bad John.
Oh man, because who hits 2 walk-off home runs
right
on the same day against your biggest opponent that you could play that year?
Big Bad John does. That's who does.
Big Bad John did. I mean,
yeah,
awesome.
Byington would be a great one. I think Johnny would obviously be a good one to talk. And we've seen some of his interviews, but to really talk to him about stuff other than just football.
Well, yeah, you just kind of know where his mindset was. I mean, really, from the end of his A&M career through the end of his NFL career, I want to know what happened there.
Yeah. And it seems like he's more open to talking about it as the years go on.
Yeah.
I'd say baseball, there's one I'd like to talk to, and it would be a really tough interview. And he'd probably never agree to it.
Who's that?
Be Chuck Knobloch. I'd love to talk to him about his playing days at A&M. I'd love to talk to him about getting to play in the pinstripes, getting to play for the Yankees. It's whether you like the Yankees or hate them, that's quite an accomplishment in life.
It is.
And then to really talk to him about once he started getting the yips, the ability to throw to first base, it ruined his career. He left baseball, and to talk to him about, what was really going on. And years later, how do you reconcile the fact that really one of the simplest parts of the sport that you grew up loving to play and excelled at failed you? What do you do? Where do you go? And I know, I mean, Chuck's successful. He's a successful person, baseball or not, but I'd love to talk to, he should probably be a motivational speaker and probably write a book about it. When you want to be a baseball player, but you can't remember how to throw. It was tough. It was tough to watch.
Tough.
But I think that'd be an interesting interview to hear it from his perspective and how he dealt with that. And, because when you're a professional athlete, you're at the top of the world, right? That's what you grow up wanting to do and wanting to be. And then you actually reach that pinnacle. And then, a simple thing fails you. It wasn't an injury. It was just, it was weird, man. God,
It was
I
just a
remember
mental,
it was so
mental
weird.
thing. Yeah.
So I would, that would be one I would love to talk to him and just have him, talk about his experience with that, going
Yeah.
from the top of the world to not being able to play the game that he played so well for so long.
Yeah. And I think
God, he was fun to watch at A&M too.
Yeah. I mean, you talk about, being on the 89 team.
Yeah. Well,
I mean,
he's honestly, I think Chuck is probably top 5, maybe top 5, maybe top 10 players to come through A&M.
Oh, 100%. He's right up there. He is a top-notch player.
Yeah, not only with how good he was here, but then the career that he had, in the big leagues. God, he was good.
I mean, look at like some of the classic names. I mean, names that have come through this program that you could associate with just dominance. He was one of them. Tyler Naquin's one of them.
Yep.
But you just have a lot of great names over the course of baseball, and that list has continued to grow, which is cool to see. But
he's still one of them.
But that back then he was definitely one of them and still is.
Yeah.
Finally, last and probably least out of our hands, or the most out of our hands, which is when are the script hoodies coming to be released to the public?
Now, I tell you what, if I knew the answer to that, I would scream it from the top of Kyle.
I'd have them already.
you know as well as I do that it's all up to the licensing.
You'll like this. Time out. Literally, as we're doing this, Chuck Knobloch tweeted at the 203 Twitter and said, "Go get them, boys."
Oh,
that is awesome,
Chuck. Oh my God, if you're listening, I would love to have that interview, and I understand if you don't want to, but I would love you if Chuck Knobloch ever listened to this. Yeah, right. But man, God, I would love to sit down with him and just talk, because I want to talk about his playing days at A&M too.
Oh, for sure.
Man, when you're out of school playing in kind of the heyday of the program, God, what a blast, man.
Oh yeah, that's great.
I mean, we were in the middle of it with football. Baseball was good. We had a basketball team.
Oh yeah, they were there.
Well, and even those are also some great years for Aggie softball. If I'm not mistaken, the 80s were good. The 80s were good to A&M.
Mm-hmm.
And especially once we ripped Jackie Sherrill from Pitt, everything just kind of started clicking.
Mm-hmm. So that is just so cool to me that Chuck just tweeted out. It's like divine intervention.
Fangirling.
We love
all
that.
Day.
We love that. So that's pretty much what I got at this point.
So great.
So cool. All right. So personal things coming up. So we are official. Moving forward, I have started on, and I will be rolling with Carson Jeffrey for these next several weeks. So
now you can say it.
Now we can say it. It's kind of been in the works, something we've been working on, but we are officially good to go with Carson. My next few shows are going to be pretty busy. We got Cheatham Street in San Marcos this Friday, Love and War in Plano Saturday, Hurricane Harry's in College Station next Friday. And then we're going on a 4-show run. We're going to be hitting up in Arkansas, Missouri, Kansas, and Lincoln, Nebraska before we come back down. And we'll be in Manhattan, Kansas. So, it's going to be a party. It's going to be
there you go, the Little Apple.
Yeah, Little Apple, Aggieville, all that fun stuff. So that'll be cool. But, and then we're just going to be playing all over the dang place. And it's, 2 to 3 shows a weekend. And as often as I can, I'll fill you guys in on when and where and how. But, the 9th we'll be at Hurricane Harry's in College Station, so come party with us.
That's fun. Well, that's cool. And I don't mean to brag, but I knew about it before y'all did. but yeah, I mean, and that's really great, man. That is a busy schedule, but that's why you do it, right? You don't do it just to sit around in a garage. Yeah, personal for me, I just I'm still working on something behind the scenes. It's apparently not moving as rapidly as Rob is.
That's all right.
But it's not a band, so don't worry.
That'd be fun though. We'd love
that. I should stay in the garage for my musical career.
That's fair.
But still rocking and rolling at the restaurant. We're actually going to be putting out some strip maps for the restaurant now that they've decided to just completely shut down George Bush from time to time for construction. So we're going to show you guys little easier ways to cut through Southgate to get to us. Still doing the smoked chili dogs on home weekends for baseball or softball.
Right.
And because it's a big game, and this will be a little late, but it's on Twitter. We're actually doing the smoked chili dogs today, starting in about 30 minutes at 3 o'clock. So for the baseball crowd out there, if you want to swing by Good Bull and grab you a smoked chili dog before you head to Olson, and watch us beat the hell out of TU, we'll be open.
Nice.
So
that's gonna be fun, man. Exciting, good times. But
yeah, hey, I've got a bunch of stuff going on. I just can't talk about any of it.
It's all good. It is all good. Well, hey guys, be sure to once again, check us out on Spotify, iTunes. Be sure to give us those likes, those 5-star reviews. Be sure to like our stuff on YouTube where it gets posted, and of course, be sure to share it with your friends because we're really excited about getting to do this podcast with you guys. And
we'll answer a ton of questions too. Yeah, your friends, you can ask us whatever. I did forget. I do have one PSA, one public service announcement.
What you got?
My daughter turned 16 on Friday. So for those of you who live in the Bryan College Station area, I'm just letting you know that Tuesday, my daughter will begin driving by herself.
In other words, get off the roads.
So heads up. No, she's a good driver. She's cautious. She's kind of overly cautious.
Kind of like me whenever I was start driving. So I get that.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I'm old enough to have a 16-year-old, man. What the hell?
Yeah, life flies by, man. And
it does.
Enjoy it while you can.
Yeah, and I'm about within the next month I will be dropping. I believe so. I'm trying to. I will be dropping my retirement packet for the United States Army.
Oh man, isn't that wild?
Dude, the party is going to be intense.
I believe it.
Gonna be a lot of old parts though, probably.
That's okay.
But I'll invite But
old people are fun.
Well, I'll only invite the fun old people.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Yes. So, so I think Hunter Shirtliff, from the fan show on Texags and Shirtliff Law, Hunter and his wife are going to come, and a couple of my buddies, and I probably actually know a couple of students that I would invite. A couple. I don't know. I don't know if they want to hang. I don't know if they want to. When you're 21 years old, your retirement parties really aren't on your radar.
Right. No, I get that.
but yeah, no, I'm gonna burn it down straight up. Nice. But yeah, man, that's all I got. I'm looking forward to the game tonight, and you guys will catch this probably the day later or the day after. But keep going to Good Bull. Keep going getting barbecue and go to Rob's shows and just enjoy it, man. The weather's turning nice. Everything's turning green. It's hard to complain.
Yeah, for sure. It's gonna be great. Well, hey, we appreciate y'all listening in. This was the RedAss podcast. And, of course, we will catch you in on the next one. Beat the hell out of TU, baby.
Yes, beat the hell out of TU, gig 'em.
Yeah.